Hello sailors, and welcome back to your next Sail Smart video. And this week we're talking about the America's Cup, arguably one of the greatest sailing trophies in the world. The America's Cup is a tremendously old trophy. In fact, it's the oldest sporting trophy in the world, and it even outdates the modern Olympics. It was in 1851 that the America's Cup was first fought over. The America's Cup was originally known as the 100 Guinea Cup, which I was disappointed to hear isn't about winning 100 guinea pigs. Oh. But the boat that won that race was called the Americas, and so they named the trophy the America's Cup. The first race was hosted on the Isle of Wight at the Royal Yacht Squadron. The race was around the Isle of Wight, and it was between the UK and the United States. Unfortunately for us Brits, the American boat won by 8 minutes, and after that continued for 132 years, winning every single America's Cup, making it the longest winning streak in sporting history. It was only in 1983 that finally America was swept off their throne and was replaced by Australia. So how did that happen? How does the race work? Well, it starts off with the defender. The defender, the person that won, is now defending their trophy, the America's Cup, against anybody that would try and take it off them. The defender actually gets to decide a lot of the rules. They get to decide what sort of boat, they get to decide where it is. Some of these are in conjunction with the other players, but largely it's up to the defender. Once these things have been sorted out, we can then allow in the challengers. Now the challengers are going to compete to take on the defender. And the way they do that is in what's called the America's Cup World Series, otherwise known as the Louis Vuitton Cup. This competition takes all of these sailors to different parts of the world, and they compete over several different championships, with the overall winner becoming the challenger to take on the defender in the final America's Cup race. The final America's Cup race is currently first to 9 wins, boat on boat, so it's a bit of a match race. Alongside each team of sailors in the America's Cup, there is a huge team of engineers and yacht designers building the boats that will take them to the America's Cup. This is a huge part of the race, because if your boat is faster, you're going to win. The boat designs can cost a lot of money in research and development, and there's even a little bit of rivalry between the other teams, even sending in spies or other boats to watch on the water and see what other people are developing. Now, it's not to say that this is allowed, but everyone's pretty sure it happens. And over the years, there's been some pretty good arguments about people stealing other people's designs. Now, on to more modern times, and I got interested in the America's Cup in 2013 when I started watching a certain Sir Ben Ainslie race in the America's Cup. In 2013, we're in San Francisco, and Ben is racing for Team Oracle USA as the defender against the challenger from New Zealand. All the other boats have been parked, and we're on to the final America's Cup showdown. One-on-one for all-out sailing glory. New Zealand are winning. They are 8-1 up. And they need one more race to win the America's Cup, swipe it away from the US, and take that home to victory. However, the Americans had a little bit of a different plan, and they had a bit of a change amongst their team. Ben Ainslie was now put as tactician, which means he's in charge of deciding whether to go left or right, faster or slower. From here on, 8-1 down, the US won 8 races in a row, finishing the competition 9-8, making it, in my opinion, the greatest sporting comeback in history. Obviously, this was an amazing thing to watch on TV. So the following America's Cup in 2017 saw New Zealand as the challengers again, and this time they won, using a very innovative design of pedal power. Conventionally, there's grinders on these boats that build up hydraulic power and move it forwards and backwards in the boat, allowing you to control the huge sails and different bits on the boat. Now, this means that using your arms to grind, you use your feet for some of the controls. A little bit confusing. New Zealand decided that this was a silly idea, and actually using their legs to control the power and their hands to press the buttons might make them into better sailors. Who's to say whether that was the thing that made them win? But they did win. Following this, Ben put together his own team for the UK and set up base in Portsmouth Harbour. His team is now Ineos UK, and they're looking to take part in 2021 America's Cup, which will be in New Zealand, the current defenders. Now, Team Ineos UK have a budget of £110 million. Suffice to say, racing in the America's Cup is no cheap feat. However, it can gain you ultimate sailing glory. What's next in 2021? Well, the last winners were New Zealand, now the defender, and they have taken the competition to New Zealand. The boats are going to be unbelievable. For the last couple of years, we've been racing in foiling catamarans, and these are unbelievable machines. But New Zealand wants to take us into monohulls. That means instead of two bits in the water, we've got one normal boat, and it's going to have a foil on the bottom to make it rise out and go even faster. These boats look incredible with the two-wing design. It's going to be sailing like we've never ever seen before. And I can tell you, I will be sitting down to cheer on Team Ineos UK, and I'm sure you'll join me. Over the years, only 4 different countries have ever won the America's Cup. USA we know about, New Zealand, Australia, and Switzerland. Switzerland have won the America's Cup. That country with all of the water around it. Switzerland, despite all of their millions and millions of pounds that they spent on these sailors, just remember, once upon a time, they were on a pond in the middle of nowhere, sailing a boat for the very first time. A bit like you. And from there, their passion and knowledge of the sport grew and led them to where they are. So that's it for the America's Cup, the greatest sailing competition of all time, invented by the people of the UK, invited their friends and never got invited back. Let's hope that we can change that for the future. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon for another Sail Smarts video. All the best.